Hello everybody. Today I wanted to make a video showing you how to get a card ready to ship and get graded. So we're going to go start with the pack, and I do want to point out that you want to get your grading order done online and ready, because when you ship out your card, it will go along with a paper saying that you've paid for it and which cards they are. So it's like its ID and everything, right? So first of all, some people do use gloves. I don't like to use gloves when opening packs. You do, of course, want to be careful. If you know that you're going to be grading a card, I don't like to use gloves because you can't feel what the glove is doing. Sometimes the elastic might pull on it, right? When you open the pack, it's actually best to use scissors to keep you from damaging the card at all. So you definitely want to make sure the cards are pushed all the way down to the bottom. If you want to use the tab, you can. It's just sometimes when you pull it, the card is still like right here, so you might damage the corner of it if you were to do that. So if you don't want to take any precaution, if you want to take precautions, I'm sorry, you want to make sure that you use the scissors so that you cut them out and you don't damage the card at all. There's no pulling or pushing from it. Obviously, you want to make sure that your cards are well taken care of. And again, I don't like to use gloves because your hand is actually pretty soft compared to gloves. And the gloves you cannot feel. It doesn't have the nerves. So you might pull on the card and damage it, right? Of course, once you're pulling your cards out of the pack, let's say I wanted to grade Ancient Beetlemon here. You want to minimize touching its surface. Surface is, of course, one of those things that gets graded. Touching it like this or like that is not a good idea. Messing with it, as you can see, if you pull on the tab of the pack, you might pull a corner. All of those are things that the grading may be lowered for, right? I don't really care about this Ancient Beetle. Right, you also have some whitening sometimes on the corners. You want to make sure that you check for those things, as graders will be also looking for that. And of course, the centering, you can look at the back of the card and see how far the edges are from the end of the card, and that will tell you approximately how good the centering is. The back is actually a pretty good indicator of centering. And of course, if you have a card without really good centering, it'll be obvious to most people. Sometimes you need to use like a special tool for it. But either way, centering is, of course, one of those things. So you have the surface, you have corners, you have centering. All of those things are things to watch out for when grading, right? Next, what you want to do is, let's say I want to use this one. That's right. I didn't mess with it a whole lot. You definitely want to make sure that it goes straight into a penny sleeve, right? Preferably one that fits it perfectly, right? A perfect fit sleeve is actually pretty good. Keeps the card nice and snug so it doesn't come out. And it doesn't slip out of it, right? And you can always put it inside and then look at the centering. That's also a pretty good idea. You can touch the penny sleeve all you want and it'll be fine. As long as the card itself is not the one getting touched, then you're fine. Of course. Next, you want to make sure that you put a tab on the card itself. Well, not the card itself, I'm sorry. A tab on the penny sleeve so that you can pull this out from the card saver. I personally like to use a Post-it note, right? Cut in half. So I will take some scissors, for example, cut it in half. To me, that's pretty good thickness that it will pull the card out without doing a whole lot. So of course you stick it to the back, right? You have a pretty good pull tab, right? You're gonna pull the card out from one of the card savers. This right here is a card saver. I already have a card in there. You could use a regular tab, but they are kind of hard to grab sometimes. I prefer to make it as easy as possible, as easy an experience as I can for the grader, right? So you, of course, you want to slip the card in there. Personally, I've noticed that the note pulls up pretty easily, right? Pulls up pretty easily. Of course, your grader is very careful with it, right? So this card savers, I'm going to go ahead and put the description. This is the ones that you want to use for grading your cards. They're not super rigid. They're supposed to be enough to protect the card, but not enough that it won't take a bend. You can definitely bend the card saver pretty well and be okay. The card will also, of course, bend with it, but you want to make sure that the card is protected. So what I like to use is cardboard, kind of like this. Once the card is inside the card saver, and I'm sorry, I'm doing this a little, with not as much tact as I normally would, but it's because I want to make a video that's not too long, right? You want to have the card in the card saver. You're going to go ahead and put it inside the cardboard. If you have multiple cards, of course, each one should have its own little cardboard piece, right? And then, of course, I like to package it in addition to that with an additional layer of plastic. So I've packaged my cardboard for this card. Put it in a little bit of plastic. If you can get a larger one and get this sealed up, that's actually pretty good. I like to do this right here where I put the tab kind of inside, so it's not kind of out there. And of course, this plastic also protects it in case you come across some water or something. It has extra protection with that plastic around it, right? So then you can start making your stack of cards. They'll all be protected. And additionally, once you get it shipped, of course, you have the sheet that goes along with them. You're gonna put it inside of something like this, an envelope that that fits the card pretty well, pretty snug. I personally like to do bigger orders, and for that, and if the card is more expensive, then I would probably consider using a box, right, for sending the cards out. One of the better boxes that I've found has been the Priority Mail, right? Like the one that fits everything. You can easily fit in multiple cards to grade, no problem. Let me just get this available, right? It'll fit them in there pretty easily. I usually will add an additional, you know, bubble wrap or whatever. And then of course you'll put your order number, and if you want you can tape these down to the box so they don't move around as much, and your cards will be protected and available for grading as soon as they arrive. I've been using this method for some time now, and it's been working pretty well. I've gotten some pretty good high graded cards from Pokemon, right? But not only that, but as well as Digimon as well. If you are, of course, somebody who loves Digimon, you definitely want to make sure that you get the highest grade possible on your Digimon cards, right? And I love doing that with these. It's been working out pretty well. Several 10s. This card was actually graded using sending out before I developed this method of sending out cards. So it got a 9, but after learning how to send them a little bit better, I've been getting a little bit better higher grades, such as this Greymon, right? And this is a card you don't want to mess up. This is a hard to get card. You definitely want to get a good grade on it, right? So thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps you package your cards in a really nice and cool, compact way. If you want me to make a video about, you know, how to register for getting your cards graded on PSA or Beckett or things like that, let me know and I can make a video. And thank you very much for watching.